Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 149. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction hypnotist and number one best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. I'm also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from the app stores today. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Michelle Warnica. Michelle's purpose is to guide you in learning the language of your soul so that you can uncover your soul's purpose, find the courage to step into your authentic self, and shine your light in the world as the gift you were born to be. Currently, she is a soul purpose and higher consciousness coach. She uses her gift as a divine channel to help you connect to your soul team and support you as you transform into the best version of yourself, the person that your soul came here to be. And she can be found on michellewarnica.com and Instagram at michelle.warnica, and all over social media. All of that will be in our show notes. And so today, Michelle is going to share some of her insights on communicating with your soul and team of guides for business success. And so welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. I'm a
Oh,
fan.
thank you so much. And thank you for joining us here today on the Power of Your Mind podcast. We were just talking about our beautiful colors that we're bringing to the table today. You're wearing your beautiful purple and kind of like magenta beautiful top with your beautiful smile, and you're very spiritual. I could just feel the energy coming off of you, radiating. And you were talking about, of course, my teal. For those of you who are watching this on the YouTube channel, you get an opportunity to see all the beautiful teal. And Michelle just informed me it's because of my fifth chakra, maybe that, or maybe I'm bringing out more of my fifth chakra because of all this teal, this blue green, which is the color for the throat chakra. So,
Actually, it would be a blend of the throat and the heart.
ooh,
The
yeah, because the
blue and
green is the heart and the blue is the
yeah,
throat. Yes.
yeah, there we go.
I love it. I love it. When we were just talking about how, I had interviewed a guest because Michelle's a channel, and I've interviewed a few people that channel, and some people are kind of born doing it, born with the gift. And Michelle just kind of recently stepped into this power and received this gift. So, why don't you just kind of share a little bit with us, like how that happened? I'm always so curious. Like, I speak to my intuition a little bit, but I think when people are channeling, they're probably doing something just, beyond where I am going. So I'd love to like hear how you stumbled upon that, how you tapped into this power, and maybe how other people can, start to tap into their own, meet their soul and their soul guides.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have been on my spiritual journey for over 20 years, but about 5 years ago, I really started waking up. Like I didn't know it at the time that I was having an awakening. I didn't even know what an awakening was. I just knew that it was time. I'd been in corporate America for 25 years as a salesperson. My industry had changed significantly, telecommunications. And, from the time when I started selling high price long distance to now where we do everything over the internet, it wasn't even a business I'd even recognize anymore. And and it was kind of like the Pac-Man, of industries where it was just getting gobbled up. There weren't a lot of jobs left. And I really wanted more. I'd been wanting more for several years. And I always had told myself that the universe would move me along when the time was right. And time seemed right. And I just decided I'm not going back. This is it. I'm going to create my own business being of service. I don't know what that looks like. I'm just going to do it. I just started praying to God to please give me a sign, show me the way. And I started on that path and did a few network marketing companies that didn't really pan out because I really needed to step into my own power instead of trying to sell somebody else's products. And at the time, about 6 months in, I developed a very chronic digestive problem where I kept having to change the way that I eat. And I started losing a lot of weight. And it was about that time I remember going to get my hair done. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm ready. Just cut it off. Let's do something different. And I literally just transformed myself physically. That was kind of unconscious. I didn't say I want to look different, just everything shifted. I was physically really changing into a new person. And then that continued on for a couple of years. I went through the dark night of the soul where I was isolated. I barely left my house. I was just journaling, meditating, pulling runes, trying to figure out what the heck was happening. And that went on for a few years. And then I think about year 3, I started working with this in this mentorship program. And the woman really showed me, I really started to expand. I could feel like physically, energetically, I was expanding bigger than my body was. It was really painful. And I went through this huge expansion. And coincidentally, I had planned a trip to Thailand. Like I actually booked it in January and for October, because my birthday is in October. And I started working with this woman the end of the summer. And by the end of the program, which was October, when I went to Thailand, that was when I really was expanding. That was when everything kind of came to a head in Thailand. And I remember I was at a yoga retreat center and I went to a sound bath the night before my birthday. And it was my intention to leave this person that I was no longer. I was leaving this person in Thailand and I wanted to go home as the person I was becoming. And I did this sound bath and I put this crystal at my crown. And as soon as I closed my eyes, I just started seeing all these colors and shapes. It was like an acid trip. It was so great. And I was like, wow, I wonder what this is. And I just went with it. And at the end, I got up to, it was dark in there because it was like an outside Shambhala, I think they call it, or whatever, like a outside place. And I remember picking the crystal up, but I was really kind of woozy and I must have missed my purse because I lost that crystal. And I went back to my room and my roommate's like, where were you? You look so different. And I'm like, I went to this sound bath. It was just down here. It was amazing. And the next day I woke up and I went to yoga and all the women were like, oh my God, you look so different. Like I literally shifted my energy.
Wow.
And I know, it was so crazy. And then I realized that this crystal I had bought like the year before on my birthday. And it was all about helping you to have a smooth transformation so that it was easeful. And I had lost it like about a month after I bought it. And then I found it about a month before I went to Thailand and I brought it with me. And it was my intention to leave myself there. And I put it at my crown and then I lost it. And I really believe that I just kind of downloaded my higher self and let go of my lower self in that crystal. And because I was in a state of bliss for like the next few weeks. I was you see pictures of me. I'm just like,
Oh, that is awesome. Oh my God. We all would love to experience something like that, just being in a state of bliss for 3 straight weeks.
It's open to
Like,
everybody.
I am walking on sunshine. Nothing is going to impact me. This is just wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that is, and then so how did, how did you like start to sort of figure out, the soul guides and all of that? How did that transformation lead you to, you know, hear, your soul?
Yeah. Well, I started, the voice in my head changed
Mm,
from, from that voice of your head that you have forever and ever and ever. When you're a little kid growing up, all the programming that you have
mm-hmm,
changed, and the voice in my head became really the highest and best version of me. And it was
mm,
really leading me to higher paths and really talking to me more about what was in my best and highest good in every choice that I made. And so I could feel that something had shifted there, definitely. And then my father was very sick at the time. And I kept asking him how he was, and he kept telling me he was okay. And I heard from somebody that your higher self can talk to someone else's higher self.
yeah.
So I tuned into his higher self and said, how, Dad, how are you really doing? And then he told me, how he was feeling and what he was doing.
His
And
own voice or his higher self was saying
I,
that, like his higher self was communicating. So the words weren't coming out of his mouth; they were being, you were hearing them in your mind.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, because when I asked him how he was, he kept telling me he was fine, he was fine, he was fine. But then his higher self was like, "I'm just so tired, and
Oh.
I do not know, what's happening here." And then things got worse, and he had cancer, and then he went into
Oh.
the hospital. He's totally great now. He went into the hospital for a couple of days. It turned into weeks, and then I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. And I ended up working with his higher self to um, to help him find his soul purpose for living, so that he could get back to his life, because he was really, after he was in the hospital for so long, his body had kind of, um, I don't want to say worn down, but it had, and he had to go to
Mm-hmm.
rehab and build himself
Mm-hmm.
back up. But I'm happy to say that he is doing really well now,
Oh,
and
that's wonderful.
yes, he's really a miracle, because he's in his late 80s, so
Now,
kind of
is that
crazy.
something, when you tune into somebody's higher self, is that something that you like, do you just naturally, like, are you able to do that with anybody, like on the spot? Or do you have to go somewhere and you're, like deep into meditation? Or like, how does that work for you? How does that occur?
For me, it's just like a conversation, and I can do it with anybody. But it is what I did learn early on as I was playing with my gift, because you don't, you get these gifts, but they don't come with like a instruction manual, right? So I learned early on that you have to ask permission. You can't just turn into somebody's higher self. So I was doing readings there for a while, and I would have people, I would tell them, "I'm going to be talking to your higher self tomorrow morning. So just let her know that I'm coming, and that it's okay for her to share with me." And then we would have a conversation. But if you're not, um, unless somebody's sick, you're not really supposed to tune into somebody's higher self, or um, without their permission.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's I think that sounds. I mean, that seems right. It seems like maybe it's a personal thing for people. Maybe they don't want that, but I'm an open book. So if you wanted to tap into my higher self, I am 100%. I'm game for that. And I'm not necessarily requesting that we do that here. If if that's part of what naturally occurs, then, by all means.
I think because we all have free will and we're all sovereign beings, and you want to be a little bit careful about who you invite in, because not everybody is a benevolent being, and so you have to really be careful. That's another lesson I had to learn kind of the hard way, was that you really have to shield, especially when you so what happened then is I really became open, and I started doing these readings. I started working with people to help them find their soul purpose through that channel. And then when COVID hit, I really got sick, and I just was, my whole body.
Did you get the virus?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think that a lot of people realize that what happened last year was that the energy on the earth shifted into a higher frequency. So that we all, as human beings, our bodies shifted as well, because we had to adjust to being in this new higher frequency.
It's there's there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there that are talking about like the 5D state or something like that. Is that sort of like what, and some people are able to shift into that, and some people are staying the same and not able to shift into that. Is that sort of what you're talking about?
Well, everybody can shift into it. So what you're talking about, two states, there's 3D and 5D. We've been living in the 3D for thousands and thousands of years, but there's multiple dimensions. And 5D is really the way the earth has shifted into. So now that dimension is available on a regular basis. And 5D is really a dimension of bliss.
Not to be confused with 5G.
Yeah, exactly. And 4D, there's really, people ask, what about 4D? Well, 4D is really kind of a bridge. It's not, there are beings that live in 4D, but not human beings.
Oh.
So it's a bridge between 3D and 4D that you kind of cross over.
But are they spiritual? Are they like just
energetic?
Energetic beings? Okay.
Yes, dimensional, multidimensional. Believe in beings from other planets, and different beings that from different dimensions. It depends what you believe. I believe that that it's kind of weird that we would be the only beings in the whole entire universe. And when you start to learn about the universe, you realize that there's all these other planets, and just because these beings aren't 3D like us doesn't mean they don't exist.
That makes sense. I totally get that. Now, but are there some that are still in 3D and others are in 5D? Is that they are some people they haven't made the shift and still at the 3D level, and is it, I'm kind of fascinated with what you're saying here, and this whole shift, because I haven't really, I mean, I feel like honestly, I do kind of feel a little subtle shift in myself where, I've just been I've just somehow, it's like I'm ready. Like I'm ready to go to the next level of my business. I'm ready to go to the next level in my relationship. I'm ready to just like soar to like a whole new level, and like just leave any doubts, any fears, any things that I've ever had before, just like, wow, just done with that, And I've been like, I literally, like, I've just put first I have a 4-hour routine in the morning now, where I didn't even take a half an hour. First thing I would do is just, sit in my bed and, flip through my Facebook for a little while until I felt like getting up. Like now it's just like I get up at 5, I meditate, I do my hypnosis, I do my journaling, I read, and then I get out and I walk and I listen to audiobooks, and that whole process there. And then I've got my makeup on and I'm sitting in front of my computer by 9 o'clock. Is that the shift? Have I shifted?
Yes, that's 5D. That is what it is. It's really because you're in a place where you're really wanting to be the best version of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
you're in a place where you want to take yourself to the next level. And it sounds like
Yeah.
you want to do that fearlessly. And that's really what 5D is about. It's about letting go of all the fears. It's about letting go of all the programming. It's about just being fearless, that you have the infinite ability to become your infinite, unlimited self.
Wow. Okay. Well, and I know we're kind of going a little bit off track and getting a little deeper into this branch of our conversation. So I want to shift into where we were going. And, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is like, what was it that caused you to become so fascinated with the power of a person's mind? Like why did you shift into that fascination?
Yeah.
I know why I'm fascinated, but I'm always curious, like, what causes other people to be so fascinated with it?
Well, I think the first thing is when I was little, I remember being in second grade and learning about the universe. And I remember learning that we were these teeny tiny little specks and that there was this infinite universe out there. And I remember feeling really, really small. And I couldn't sleep that night because I just was so upset by this, that we were so teeny tiny. And I remember asking my dad about it. What does he think? And he didn't really know either. And I was like, okay, well, these are big questions. So I've kind of spent my life trying to answer those questions. And then what really has kind of moved me into the mind was about 10 years ago, I had a stroke and
Oh,
I was in really great shape. I had a trainer. I ate right, but I was drinking a lot. I was drinking way more than anyone really ever knew. And I ended up having a stroke. I was paralyzed on my left side. I had to learn to walk again and to use my left side again. And I went through this incredible recovery. And the reason that made me realize how powerful the mind is because when you're recovering from a stroke, it feels very physical in your body, but it's your brain that's been injured. So it's weird because my most memorable moment in rehab was they take you to have a shower every morning because they want a lot of people that have strokes to get depressed. And if you have a shower every day, that helps you from falling into depression. I guess
mm-hmm.
showered people are more likely to be depressed than people that are showered, I guess. Anyway, so I was getting into the shower. I was getting out of the shower and into the wheelchair. And I picked up my left leg and I moved it onto the little flaps where you put your feet. I picked up my little leg and I put it onto that flap. And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm moving my leg." This is my caregiver. And she said, "You don't move your leg like that. You move your leg with your mind." And I said, "But it doesn't move." And she said, "I'm going to be here all weekend. And I want you to, every time you move your leg, I want you to move it with your mind, not with your hands." And I'm like, "But it doesn't move." She goes, "Just do it. Just listen to me. I'm going to be watching you," she said. And so all that weekend, this was Friday, all that weekend, every time I wanted to move my leg, I looked at it and I sent the signal from my mind to my leg. And I did this Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday, and by Monday I could move my leg.
Oh, that is amazing. I love that story. I love that. They have the miracle man, in the in the movie The Secret, and he just said, I mean, if you got your mind, then you can get your body. And it sounds like, you were able to get some inspiration. I mean, that woman, what a wonderful gift to have
Um,
that woman to help you to make that realization that you could do it.
yeah, and I think that stayed with me because I really believe that anything that we believe, anything thoughts become things. It's our mind is so powerful. We don't realize it. We live our lives, I shouldn't say we, I should say most people, many people live their lives in autopilot until
Mm-hmm.
you start to become conscious. you just go through the day without even realizing what you're doing. You just, like you were saying, you get up in the morning, you start scrolling through your social media, you look at the news, you grab some coffee, you move on with your day. You don't even really think about this is the dawning of a brand new day. What a powerful opportunity this is to create something new. And I think
Absolutely.
every single
Yeah.
day, I think that.
Yeah. Well, and it's so true. I mean, like, because I had my little mini silent retreat, which created this at home little silent retreat. And I just decided, during that time, I was just not going to have any outside influence, nothing penetrating my mind. And I remember once, Brennan Burchard talks about this, how start the day, don't like start your day by get taking in information like from your devices and your Facebook and your email and watching the news and all of that, because it's like I just want to start the day with my own information. And I mean, pretty much from that day forward, I watch. I just don't watch the news anymore. Like I don't. I was getting a little bit into it for, especially with all the election stuff and everything that was going on. And I just like pretty much like the day of the inauguration, it was like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not watching any more news from here on. And so, and I don't check the coronavirus cases every day. I used to get up and check that freaking every single day. Why? What does it matter right now in my world? Like, I'm going to do the same thing whether there's 50,000 new cases or no new cases. I'm still going to try and make a difference in the world, in the minds, and change lives, and do that. I'm going to do that regardless of how, what's going on. So why listen to what's been happening? I'm much more motivated and inspirational, when I start that day, And so, anyway, the mind is just so powerful. And so I'm just delighted that you have, that you are out there and teaching people how to do this. So is that when your introduction to the law of attraction began, or were you familiar with it before that?
No, I was not. And what happened for me with the law of attraction was early. I told you when I started working in those network marketing companies, I was working for one for like a year and a half. I was doing it full time. And I think after like a year and a half, I think I made like $3,300 or something. I'm like, well, this is not going to work. And I just was like, well, this isn't happening. And I was in a really low state and I didn't know what to do. And so what do you do when you're in a low state and you don't know what to do? You go and have a psychic reading, right?
There you go. I used to do that all the time. Get
I
psychic
know,
readings.
me too. Now I just do my own. But anyway, so I went for this psychic reading, and this woman told me that my vibration was really, really low, and that in this vibration, I was never going to manifest anything good that I wanted to manifest in my life. I had never even heard
Wow.
what a vibration was. And I told my friend that I had this reading. She's like, well, that sounds like a terrible reading. I go, actually, it was really good because I didn't even know anything about this. And she told me that I should look into Abraham Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, that I should start paying attention to my vibration. And I just went on. And from there, the things really changed. I started just binge watching Abraham Hicks. They used to have like 3 to 5 hour workshops on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was doing some sort of assistant work at the time, brainless work. I would listen to that stuff for like
I got
5 hours.
to I got to be at a workshop many years ago when she was in. I lived in Florida, and they came to West Palm Beach.
I haven't been live yet. I really want to do that. Was it worth it?
It was really worth it. Absolutely. It was just the energy, and it's just the vibe. The vibe in the room was amazing, and she's amazing. And I wasn't one of the people that went up. It was really before she was as popular as. I mean, it was so long ago. It was like probably back in, like, I want to say 2007, 2008. it was a long time ago that I did that. And then, looking back on it, after she became much, much more popular, I kind of like regret, that I didn't try to like go up front and ask any questions or whatever. But yeah, very powerful experience, and love to, when they get back out there and do that, love to get back out, go and check her out again.
Yeah, I haven't been to a live event. I like to go. I have a funny story about that. One of my friends, her friend, went to see her. Um, she'd never read an Abraham Hicks. She didn't know. All she knew was she kept hearing about this Abraham Hicks, kept hearing about it over and over. She's like, I better check him out. And so got a ticket to go to the event. And,
Uh-huh.
and so Esther comes out and starts doing her thing. And she keeps waiting for Abraham Hicks to come. And then I guess like a couple hours in, or an hour or so in, that Esther said something about, if you're waiting for Abraham to show up physically, he's not here. I'm actually channeling. So they must have read her mind and channeled.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. That is great. So like tell us how you have been using law of attraction in your life.
Well, the first thing I always work with my clients is the vibration. That one thing that reader told me that I took away from that really has changed my life, because energy is everything. And so I talk to them about their vibration, about how important it is to raise your vibration, different ways to do it. And so the higher that you're vibrating, the more you can attract more powerful and wonderful people and opportunities you attract. So that is at the core of my teachings in my life, is keeping my vibration high.
Yeah.
And then from a spiritual perspective, it's all about attracting, because another thing that's happened with the shift in energy on the planet is that we're moving from a divine masculine energy of the patriarchy that we've been in for thousands of years to a divine feminine energy. And so, what that means to us living here in this earth plane is that it's no longer going to work for us to be working and toiling and really trying to make things happen. We need to embody our feminine energy, divine feminine, so that we can attract and allow and abundance and love into our life, and surrender. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
really important energies that we have to embody right now to be successful in this current energy field. And those are all the energies that they talk about in the law of attraction, right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I've always felt, you know, like people need a blend of both, some people are too masculine and to, just take haphazard actions without really having any kind of, you know, um, any kind of uh, inspiration attached to their actions. They're just acting, acting, acting out of
mhm.
sheer panic, fear, doubt,
Yeah.
and then on the, and I think that obviously that creates a lot of resistance. But then on the other hand, some people just kind of are too allowy, and just maybe it's not guided, it's not directed, and they don't take action when they're called to it. And so I think it's, really is like a blend. But I do agree with you that we're more powerful when we step into that. I mean, the females give birth. So the feminine energy gives birth to everything, right?
We are creation.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's really interesting that we are stepping into that energy, that divine feminine energy.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I actually have a whole module in one of my courses on divine. divine taking taking inspired action,
Mm.
because so many people, like you were saying, just take action to act, and action is important, but there's divine action. So when the universe inspires you, that's when you need to take action. And this is part of Abraham's teachings too, right at that minute. So if you're inspired to pick up to talk to someone and you think, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow, well, you know what, that person may need you right at that moment.
Right.
And when the universe gives you and because I teach my clients too to work with their soul team to and really pretty much all the work that I do is channeled and inspired and created by them, and it's all very timely. But when they give you a project to work on, one of the things you have to ask is, when is the due date for this project? Because so often people are like, oh, that's such a cool thing, I'm going to do that one day, and then they don't get around to it. Have you ever read that book by Elizabeth Gilbert? It's called Big Magic.
No, no. Big
It's
magic. I'm going to write that
Yeah,
down.
such a great book. And in there, it's really about creativity, and she tells a story about how she gets takes inspired. All her creations are inspired, from her spiritual connection. And she had downloaded this idea for this book, and she started working on the book. And she was doing all this research for the book, and then something happened in her life, and she just really got sidetracked. And she had to put the book aside. And so about 2 years later, she was having coffee with one of her favorite authors, and she asked her, so what are you working on right now? And she goes, oh, I'm working on this book about this woman. And it was the exact same book she'd been working on 2 years before.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, and so the chapter was about how the divine sends us these ideas, and then they find who they think is the right person to bring this idea to life. But you have to act on the idea, and if you don't, then they move the idea to somebody else.
You know what? That makes so much sense because how many times have you had an idea and then, I mean, and I get a lot of ideas. Like, I feel like a lot of ideas are born into me, and like, I get too many ideas that there'd be no way that I could really manifest them. There's just only so many hours in a day, and maybe that might be a little limiting thinking, but it's just at the where I'm at on the spectrum. Uh, you know, I, I'm only acting on certain ideas right now.
Well, there's only so much time in the day.
Exactly, exactly. And I am acting on quite a few, and then others are just way out there on a calendar. But I like getting in touch with like what is the due date for it, because it moves to somebody else. Because I have had my ideas move to somebody else. I literally and I'm not even going to say what it is because somebody in that's listening to this may know what I'm talking about, and I don't want to feel like like somebody else. I'm not saying that anybody stole my idea or anything like that, but I had an idea about something recently, and like a year or so ago, that I was going to do, and now all of a sudden someone else is doing it. It's fine. I'm like, you know what? I was probably never going to take action on that. And so it shifted to somebody else, and now I'm like looking at that going like, I was going to do that. Like that's exactly something I was going to do. So I like that idea of the idea just okay, you've had time to develop that one. We're gonna take that idea because it needs to be born, and somebody else is gonna birth it.
I love that. I just thought that was so true, because how often do you see too, like in Hollywood, where they'll be the same topic? I remember there was one year where like Truman Capote, they did two movies about him. Like the
Hmm.
same year, there'll be multiple movies about the same topic. So
Yeah.
like different people got the same ideas, but they have different perspectives, or
I
maybe it took.
have noticed that there's a theme that happens with movies. There'll be a bunch of them that'll, obviously right now with the pandemic, I'm sure there's a lot of people writing about that. But even like idea, like when Avatar came out, it just kind of seemed like there was a lot of other ideas, that were sort of along that same lines, and elevating the movies to a little bit more of a spiritual place too. So that's interesting. It's just that's an interesting concept. I like that. So when you come up with that, when you have the idea, the point being asking about the deadline for it.
Yeah, if you can't do it right, the best moment is to do it right then. But if you
Mm-hmm.
can't do it right then ask, when
Yeah.
is it, when is this, and if it's a longer project too, when does it need to come forward?
Yeah, I wonder if that had anything to do if, this idea that I had. So I last year, right about this time, was when I was finishing up my latest book that is now going to be released on January 14th, called Manifest Your Soulmate Using the Law of Attraction. And I was going to do that last year. And you know what, I mean, like, I actually even got test copy of the book and all of that. And I just, I said, it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet, and just kind of put it on the back burner. And then finally, the book is like double the size now. I added a whole bunch more to it, and it's ready. But it's like, I wonder if it sort of works in reverse too, like maybe the universe, you know, um,
It does.
says it's not ready yet. This is not ready yet.
Yes,
It's premature.
yes, it's all about divine timing. So
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody, who was it? Somebody, I was there, my niece, they want to move. And she was her boyfriend's, her husband. They just got married. It's so weird to think of her husband. Her husband is looking for a job, and he's been discouraged because he hasn't really found a lot of opportunities. And I said, well, what if the reason he hasn't found opportunities is not because there aren't any, it's just because the absolute perfect opportunity for him is not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if the absolute perfect opportunity won't manifest for another month or two? That doesn't mean that all the activity that he's doing now is wrong. It's just the activity that he's doing now is actually showing the universe how much he desires to find a job so that he can move, so that the universe will rise up and bring him that right opportunity to him.
Awesome. So tell us a
Divine.
little bit about your mission. What are you ultimately setting out to, to do and help people to have in their life?
I really believe that my mission is to help 144,000 women to access their inner guidance and really step into their full potential. Because women so often, and I see this with clients all the time, they come to me because they want clarity, because they don't know what their next step is. But
Mm-hmm.
when we really sit down and talk, they know exactly what their next step is. They just either don't trust it or they don't want to take it. They don't have the confidence to take it. So I really want to help women to step into that guidance so that they can trust their intuition. Number one, trusting your intuition is super important. And number two, once you trust it, you must have the confidence to step forward, even if it's scary, even if you don't know how it's going to work. And from the law of attraction, you don't need to worry about the how. You just need to know where the destination is. The universe will take care of the rest. So I just want to help people to trust and to be confidently moving forward.
To trust and be confidently moving forward and listening to the guidance and the wisdom that comes from their intuition. And can you help us just clarify, maybe just the difference between, is there a difference between listening to your intuition and listening to your soul guides, or do our soul guides like come through our intuition? Can you kind of clarify that a little bit?
For me, that is all in one. So when I, because I'm a clairaudient, meaning that I hear things. So when I first started receiving my gift, I would hear little things, when I was in the shower or when I got up in the morning, I'd hear a little message in my ear. It was always guiding me to do something. So I've asked that question too. Is it my inner guidance or is it my soul team? And I really believe that that we all have this, what I call soul team. People call them spirit guides that
Mm-hmm.
are around us all the time guiding us. And
Mm-hmm.
they whisper in our ears and they um, guide us they to do different things, to meet the right people, to bring us to the opportunities that are right for us. So I believe it's that your intuition is your guides.
Mm-hmm.
um,
I love that. And I love that idea though of putting it into I see it, I'm visual, but I hear things and I like the idea of thinking like that there's all these beings, these loving light beings that you can't necessarily see them, but they're all just kind of uh there and guiding you and saying no, go that way, or take action on that. No, don't hire that person, hire this person, or fire that person, or get into this relationship or out of that relationship, or take this different path home, or whatever it is. It's like they're all teaming up, and maybe they even work in different departments. This one works in your health, and this one works in your relationship, and this one works on your business. I don't know, I just I like the idea of thinking, and I literally just made that up on the spot, but they're probably telling me all of that, what to
yeah,
say to you. Oh yeah, Victoria, we actually, there's 7 of us all around you, and this one, I'm the one that just gets you to get up and meditate every morning. And
yeah.
so tell us about what happens in this incredible complimentary clarity session that people that click on this link that's going to be in our show notes can get with you.
Yeah, the clarity sessions are really powerful because what we do is you have all the answers within. Everything that you're confused about, you know exactly what you need to do. But sometimes you just need a little help to pull that out. And so that's what I do is I help you to go inside and find the answer, whatever the answer is that you're looking for. You hold the answer and we'll go in deep into you go in and I'll walk you through like a little guided meditation to get the
Mm.
answer. And if need be, then I'll channel your higher self and you can actually have a conversation with your higher self. Wherever the opportunity takes us is what we'll do. So
That is beautiful. And that's complimentary. You're giving that as a complimentary session that our listeners can just get that guidance with you and go through that meditation.
yes,
That is
I,
so
I
generous.
I really want to help. Change starts one person at a time. So if I can
Yeah.
just help one person, then I've made the world a better place
Well,
with that one person.
you're about to just get, I mean, this show doesn't air till about April, but in April you're gonna see a lot, a lot of people clicking over and booking some appointments with you, because I can't even. I mean, that's like so generous. I mean, your time is so valuable, and you've provided so much valuable insight for us, and you've been down this road yourself. You've listened to the your own inner guide, and you've been able to move into your higher path, your higher calling. And I just think so many people, they need that little nudge, that little get over that stuck feeling, and be able to move into their higher purpose in this life. I just want that for so many people. So thank you so much for providing that service, and thank you so much for being here on the Power of Your Mind podcast and sharing your insights and your story and your wisdom. You're just a beautiful spirit, and I just really appreciate you.
Thank you. I feel the same way about you.
Thank you.